Hi, boys and girls. We are going to be dyeing some eggs. And this is a new process that we were going to be using this year at school. And we would had the ingredients from our volcano experiment. Do you remember that? Where we used the vinegar mixed with the baking soda to make the reaction that looked like lava spilling out of our volcano in the science center. So this is fun because we'll be able to explore the different types of mixtures and how they affect the way that eggs look when they're dyed. And then we'll also have some eggs dyed afterwards. So these are some things that you probably have at home so that you can also try it out. Now it works best with the white eggs. Usually at my house we have a lot of brown these days, and so it does, the color does take well with white. There is the baking soda product that some of you might use for even cooking, and then the vinegar ingredient. I'm going to have a bowl of vinegar and a bowl of water. And the water is going to be part of the mixture, but it's also going to serve as a little rinsing station as well. So we can have a clean one on standby. The bowl of vinegar is going to be the one that we're also going to use for a shaving cream, marbleized shaving cream with the food coloring. The Southern Living site, which I can also post, suggests even Cool Whip being something that you could use. But since we use shaving cream for our designs and marbleizing already, I thought that that would be appropriate for us to continue to use. Okay, boys and girls, now we are going to look at two different ways that we can dye eggs using the supplies that we've just talked about. This egg is going to need a little vinegar bath before it goes into the shaving cream. So I am going to put it in this bowl of vinegar. I'm going to roll it around a little bit. Okay. You'll know, remember, like I said, which one's the vinegar and which one's the water. What do you do to know the difference? How can you tell? Because they sure do look the same. That's right. It definitely smells different, that vinegar smell. Okay, so while we're waiting for that little vinegar bath to happen, I am going to take our other egg that we are going to use with the baking soda and vinegar reaction to get the fizz going. So I'm going to put that here, and we have the three colors prepared already with our baking soda, with these two pretty kinds of blue and this purple, which was made by mixing a red and a blue together. So that's where we got some magenta colors in the past dyeing. And so this one we want to make green. So I'm going to put it in, and I would say if you're trying to measure it out, like I said, this is a half cup. If we want a fourth of a cup, that's half of this, half of a half. I'm not even going to go that whole way because I'm starting to sort of see how we can get a good consistency going. So I'm going to dump that there. And I am going to get our green, and I'm going to get our tablespoon because we need water. So you can go to this freshwater bowl and get a tablespoon to start. We're gonna add maybe a little bit more water in just a minute. We're gonna add some of this green first. And we're gonna take our stir, which, like I said, it can be a plastic spoon, a paintbrush. This is a little skewer, a little wooden skewer. Oh, this will be pretty. It's a branchy green. It reminds me of branch. Okay, let me get a little bit more of the water because they recommend about 2. I'm going to do about a half of 1 to see where we are. And then if you feel like it's a little runny, then you can always add a little more of the baking soda till you get that pasty consistency. And if you want to intensify your color, what would you do? Add a little bit more. A little less would make it a lighter green, and a little more will help it make it a little bit of a darker green. Okay, so now I'm gonna get my paintbrushes, and we're gonna start just dabbing on our color. Just covering some of the shell. It's just like our kaleidoscope. Remember all the colors used on our kaleidoscope? It was just different designs that you're covering the shell with. This is pretty light blue and a pretty dark blue. And don't forget, if you run out of paintbrushes, we have a lot because we're in the classroom, but if you're at home, you can just rinse with water and this will wash right off, just like you would do if you were using paint. So pretty. And just take your time. You can leave some of it white if you want to. Okay, I'm gonna put it there. One of the suggestions was, don't forget, you can just wipe your gloved hand with a paper towel, just like you would your real hand. One of the suggestions was to even add a touch of the real food coloring straight. So a little dab though, because you don't want too much, because you don't want it to wash off your what you've just done. It's kind of a neat idea to just try. Okay. So we're gonna let it set for 30 seconds, which means that we need to count to 30. Now, we don't want to count by tens because that would be way too quick. The recipe calls for a full 30 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's one set of 10. Let's do another one. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That's two sets of 10, make 20, and we just need one more. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Reminds me of quarter day. You're almost there. 20. Good job. 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. So now this is the fun part. We're gonna take, I have a dropper here. You might have one of these at home. You don't need to have a dropper. You could use like a little mini pitcher that you might use for cream. You can use a little spoon. But since we're pretending we're in the Branch Academy Science Lab, we're going to use our science tools that we have here. Okay, so remember when we added the vinegar to the baking soda in our volcano, and we remember it was like lava. Do you hear it? They say not more than a tablespoon. You don't want it to overflow. And that we don't have to worry too much about the bottom under there, because there's some fun things happening under there right now too. Love it. Okay, so we want that to sit up and dry a little bit. So while that's drying, we're going to come back to our egg that is in the vinegar. Now, it's recommended, it looks a little different on the shell. It looks like there's a little reaction happening. We are going to take this egg and we're going to put it into the water bath and kind of bathe off the vinegar just a bit. Okay, and then we're going to get the container we're using with our shaving cream or Cool Whip, whatever you decided to use. And it actually feels really good. So after you're done with this, if your parents allow to have a little spot at your kitchen island or at a spot where it's safe for the shaving cream to be, definitely all like granite surfaces or Formica surfaces, or even getting a placemat out. It's super fun to practice writing in shaving cream. We've had fun with that, haven't we? Okay, so I'm gonna wipe my hand off. We're gonna take some of our food coloring straight. This is not the one we mixed. We're gonna put drops straight, just like we do when we do our shaving cream experiment at school. And we're gonna take, I'm thinking of when little blue and little yellow got together, right? Should we do that in that order, like we talked about with our Play-Doh? So when little blue and little yellow, this looks like orange. The food coloring of yellow looks like orange. Isn't that silly? Okay, and then this is dark, but it is green. Okay, and so this is where I would take either the back end of a paintbrush or back to your wooden skewer, and we're just gonna drag to start marbleizing the shaving cream. And we don't want to stir it all together, because then it would, the colors would get mixed in and wouldn't show up on our egg as well. Okay, so I'm going to just gently roll the egg in. Ooh, look, boys and girls. Into the color. There's no wrong way to do this. It just happens. However it happens is the way that your egg is going to turn out. And if you want a little like blue and you didn't see any, you can kind of almost dab it right in your blue or dab it right in your yellow. Whatever touches the shell first is probably what it's going to wash off to be. Okay, so, and then it says that we are to let that sit for as long as maybe 20 minutes. So that's a long time to count. So we're just gonna go read our book, but I'm gonna let that one dry here, and we will see what happens after it's ready. So back to the lab. Let's see how this shaving cream egg turned out. I'm gonna just dab it with a dry paper towel. I think it really liked the green. We were talking about maybe if the green would be a good idea, and I think the green really showed up nicely on the eggshell. Kind of gets a little bit camouflaged into our grass over here, doesn't it? But that's pretty. And then the vinegar, the fizzy egg, wow, this one's probably my favorite. Look at this. So pretty. The baking soda is what really reacts to the vinegar. So let's just do this little batch with extra baking soda. Let me get our vinegar. Okay, we'll let it sit up. I already see some of the fuchsia coming through, which is pretty. Stay tuned. I was looking at some of my paper towels that I've used to dab, and it's making me feel a little bit like Eric Carle. Look how pretty the colors look. And if I let this dry, I could cut it up and use it for a collage, just like he does. Good luck on your own egg experiments at home. It's fun to see the different ways things come out, and the more you do it, the more experience you'll have, and you'll know what you like the best.